When Sarah walked into Walmart that fateful evening, she had no idea that her quick shopping trip would become a nightmarish ordeal. The store seemed oddly empty for Friday night, with only a few scattered shoppers milling about the brightly lit aisles. Sarah grabbed a cart and began her usual route, starting with the produce section. As she moved through the store, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Glancing over her shoulder, she saw only rows of merchandise and the occasional shopper. She dismissed it as paranoia, a symptom of having watched too many horror movies recently. Sarah ventured into the toy section for her nephew's gift. There, she encountered an older woman whose unsettling gaze locked onto her. Despite Sarah's attempt to engage her, the woman silently shuffled away, unsettling Sarah. Pushing the encounter aside, Sarah proceeded to the electronics section, where she noticed an eerie silence replacing the usual background music. Feeling unnerved, Sarah decided to hurry up and finish her shopping. She grabbed a few more items and headed for the checkout. As she approached the front of the store, she saw that all but one of the checkout lanes were closed. A cashier manned the lone open lane she hadn't seen before. He was tall and gaunt, with deep-set eyes that seemed to bore into her soul. "Find everything you need?" the cashier asked, husky. "Yes, thank you," Sarah replied, avoiding his gaze. She quickly placed her items on the conveyor belt. As the cashier scanned her items, Sarah felt a strange sensation, as if the temperature had dropped several degrees. She shivered and rubbed her arms, glancing around to see if anyone else had noticed the sudden chill. The other shoppers seemed to be moving slowly, their faces expressionless. "That'll be $42.50, the cashier said, breaking her out of her reverie. Sarah handed over her credit card, eager to leave the store. As the cashier swiped her card, she noticed a small, strange symbol tattooed on his hand. It looked like a series of interconnected circles, forming an intricate pattern. Before she could get a better look, he handed her the receipt and bagged her items. "Have a nice night," he said, his lips curling into a thin, unsettling smile. Sarah hurried out of the store, her heart pounding. In the empty parking lot, her car stood alone under flickering lights. She tossed her bags in the back seat, locked the doors, and sped away, feeling the older woman's eyes on her. Back home, she turned to her laptop, determined to uncover the truth about the store's unsettling secrets. As Sarah scrolled, a headline froze her blood: "Walmart on old asylum grounds." The history of the land, infamous for mistreatment and mysterious deaths, sent shivers down her spine. Reports of ghostly sightings confirmed her fears. Suddenly, a crash from the kitchen snapped her back to reality, fear gripping her as she approached the source. As she peeked around the corner, her breath caught in her throat. The older woman from the store was standing in her kitchen, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Sarah's scream died in her throat as the old woman advanced, her movements jerky and unnatural. The air around her seemed to throb with an oppressive energy, pressing down on Sarah's chest and making it hard to breathe. "What do you want?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. The old woman didn't speak. Instead, she lifted a gnarled hand and pointed at Sarah's laptop. The screen flickered and then went black, the room plunging into darkness. Sarah's mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. This had to be a nightmare, some twisted figment of her imagination. But it wasn't. The cold, heavy feeling in the air and the old woman's glowing eyes were all too real. Suddenly, the old woman spoke, her voice a rasping whisper that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You should not have come." "I just wanted to buy groceries," Sarah said, her voice breaking. "I didn't mean any harm." The old woman's eyes flared brighter, and she stepped closer, her presence filling the small kitchen. "This place is cursed. The land remembers. The spirits cannot rest." Sarah felt a chill run through her, understanding dawning slowly. "The asylum. The people who died there." The old woman nodded, her face contorting with pain. "We are bound here, unable to move on. The new store has stirred the restless dead. They seek vengeance." "But why me?" Sarah asked, desperation creeping into her voice. "What did I do?" "You were chosen," the old woman replied cryptically, "to bear witness, to tell others." The old woman's form began to waver, her edges blurring and fading. "Leave this place and never return. Warn others, or suffer the same fate." With that, she vanished, leaving Sarah alone in the darkness. She stumbled back, mind reeling, and fled the house, not stopping until she was safely inside her car, shaking with fear. She knew she had to warn others. Driven by determination, Sarah visited the town's library, uncovering the asylum's dark past. A fire had claimed many lives, their bodies never recovered, now buried beneath the Walmart. She contacted a skeptical paranormal investigator, Mark, who agreed to meet her at the store after hours. That night, armed with cameras and recording equipment, they entered the store, the air thick with tension. In the toy section, where Sarah had first seen the older woman, they set up their equipment and waited. Hours passed in eerie silence until a chilling moan filled the aisles, and the old woman appeared, accompanied by other spectral figures. Sarah pleaded to help them, and the old woman implored them to find their remains for a proper burial. With Mark's aid, they convinced authorities to excavate the area, eventually giving the victims an appropriate resting place. Sarah returned to the store one last time, feeling a sense of peace as she bid farewell to the old woman's spirit. She left knowing she had done the right thing, vowing never to return.